Thanks for tuning in to Perry Live with Ron Drake. Excited about this show today. The idea behind the Perry Live is to talk to you guys, the viewers, let you know what's happening in downtown Perry, and also for people just around the state or the country to watch and just kind of get some ideas on downtown revitalization and all the pieces that are involved. And so today I think we got a pivotal piece of this whole community in general. Police Chief Brian Thomas.
Hey, it's good to be here.
With Perry Police Department. Appreciate you being here today.
Oh, thank you. So, I think you've been on me for a while to
Yeah.
come see you, so it's like, no, I'm in.
You walk because we're in City Hall, and so
Right.
you walk by oftentimes right as before we get started, right afterwards, and you kind of throw a little harassment at us
Oh, yeah.
every once in a while. So we
Got to make it fun.
what better way than to harass back than to get you
Oh,
actually get you on the show.
There you go.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and your family and whatever, and how long you been with police department.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Stillwater.
Okay,
And
it's right down the road.
right down the road, God's country is what I refer to it to.
Wait a minute, that's what we call Siloam Springs.
Well,
so.
there's that school further south. We kind of, but
Yeah.
big OSU fan, being born and raised in Stillwater.
Mm-hmm.
Graduated high school. I've been in law enforcement. This is my 24th year now in law
Wow.
enforcement, and I started in Tillman County, which is Frederick, Oklahoma. It's southwest
Okay.
corner of the state.
Okay.
I started there in '94, and being from Stillwater, I had a marriage that went into divorce, and that was her hometown.
Okay.
And so I wanted to get closer to home, being my
Yeah.
whole family was in Stillwater.
Yeah.
And while I was at the police academy, I met a deputy that worked for Noble County, and he was actually from Frederick, where I was at. So we had a lot in
so you had
common.
a
His mother was an
bond,
insurance agent there, and so we talked throughout the academy. And whenever I got out of the academy, he reached out to me saying, "Hey, I heard you want to get closer to home." I said, "Absolutely." So an application was sent down to his mother's insurance agency. I went by, picked it up, filled it out, sent it back to the sheriff's office here, and Jerry Cook was the sheriff then. And what was kind of weird, the day I had my interview was after the May 3rd of '99 tornado. That was the big tornado that went through Perry, and there was a lot of
Yeah.
damage. And so
Yeah.
I went in there, and the office was just surrounded with deputies, and just everybody was trying to assist the
Yeah.
people out south of town. And so interviewed that day, and I was offered the job, and I've been in Perry since May 12 of '99, so I'm on my
Yeah.
19th year
Yeah,
in Perry.
yeah,
So it's been really great. I'm married to a local Perry girl, Ginger. It was Ginger Montgomery. Her dad was Larry Montgomery, the county commissioner that passed last year, and
Okay.
her mother was Jan. She was a tax lady here in town. Great people. She passed in '09. Got 3 sons, actually. I've got Brady from my first marriage. He'll be 22 next month. And I've got Luke and Jake.
All right.
He turns 16 next month. That's good. We're looking for cars right now. It's hard to believe. And then
Man.
I've got another one that's 14. So
I imagine being a police chief and seeing all kinds of accidents, especially with young people. When you start thinking about your own kids driving like that, it probably is a little.
that's been the conversation here lately. What kind of car do you want? And Corvette, BMW, and I'm like, no, I'm thinking 82 F-150, just to get him started.
Can you when they get the blue truck or whatever, do you tell all your patrolmen, hey, be watching out for this blue truck?
Oh, well, that's
and
always.
tell me if he's driving crazy or anything like that.
All of our officers, we have kids that are going to be driving soon, and we're always laughing like, man, I can't. Whenever your kid starts driving, oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
a running joke around town, but
Yeah.
it's just hard to believe that he's going to be driving the streets of Perry next month, and it's just like doesn't seem real.
Yeah,
They just
be
grow real
aware,
quick.
people of Perry. Be aware. Well, so you told me about your wife and your kids, but you didn't explain the hot date you had on the square here. I heard about. Got a picture of it right here. I mean,
Oh my goodness!
I heard that you and this pig, you guys kissed a little
Well,
bit.
as you can see in the picture, there's Russell Brand leaning down behind, and the mayor's got his Elvis hat on. They had a fundraiser throughout town. It was whoever had the most money put in their jar had to kiss this pig. And I'll never forget it. We're down there, and and the rumor was that I won, but I was hoping that was a rumor. And of course, we went down there and they said, hey, guess what? You get to kiss this pig today. So they bring this pig in this trailer. And I mean, just the smell coming from the trailer just is like, this is not going to happen. And so when they got this pig, which the pig was actually Lieutenant Odell's pig.
Okay.
And so he's that's his baby. Oh yeah, that's like he tends to her every day. I can't remember the pig's name though. But anyway, they get this pig out of the trailer, and it had been eating grain, and I mean, the mouth was just covered in slobber, and I said, I can't do this. I'm going to get sick. And so they actually had the Mingle, their food truck set up, and there was a lady there, and I said, please tell me you have a piece of saran wrap. And she goes, yes. She goes, I'll give it to you as long as you tell everybody to come get something. I said, absolutely. I was advertising. So, you know, I was not ever a farm guy, never around really much animals, so I don't know if this pig has disease. I mean, it was just a bad sight. So I chased the pig around the stage for a while, and finally it got to where it stopped, and I mean, when the kiss came in, my shirt was covered with the grain that pig had eaten. I mean, it was all for a good cause, but man, that was quite of an experience.
So did you realize it wasn't so bad and maybe you would do it again?
Oh, I wouldn't do it again. I would, if I ever have anything like that again, I'll probably go see a bank and get a loan and make sure somebody else
does it for
wins
you.
this one. So but it was all in good spirits
that's
and
great.
good fundraiser for the community. So it was fun.
So I have some good friends that are in the police force, and was actually really good friends with our chief of police in Silent Springs when I was doing a lot of development there. And you know, being a police officer, it's kind of a thankless job sometimes. I mean, they love you when you're coming to help them, save them. Yeah. Not so much when they're getting pulled over for a taillight or something.
Oh, absolutely. So,
you know, you know, so it takes a special person, I think, in general to.
In this profession, we don't do it for the money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more of a God-send calling. It's something that just you got to want to do it. I mean, like you said, we make traffic stops, and if they're intoxicated, they have narcotics, the first thing out of their mouth is, you just ruined my life. And I'm like, no, you did this to yourself. Yeah. And we're doing our job, which we've sworn oath to, you know, to protect and serve. And, you know, I think, you know, it's just that time frame. Everybody's like, man, you just ruined me. But no, like I said, we're just doing our job.
Yeah,
so don't take it personal. And, you know, we pull people over, and they get upset because they got a ticket for a seatbelt, and we're like, we don't make the laws, we just enforce the laws, and that's what we're paid to do. So, you know, it's a rewarding career. I mean, it's like I said, 24 years in. I've had other jobs in the past I didn't enjoy going, but I had to support my family. Yeah. And I still, at 24 years in, I look forward to going to work every day.
How long have you been chief of police here in Perry?
I've been chief. I started with Perry in 2006,
yeah.
And I became chief in 2009. So I've almost got
almost 10 years.
10 years as a chief.
Yeah. All right. So when you hit your 20-year in Perry, you'll also be hitting your 10-year chief. That's actually going to be a pretty big year, it sounds like, 2019.
Yeah.
You're going to start playing in the party, Taylor. Now, it seems like I've been around Perry, and I walk around and feel pretty safe. Perry seems like a pretty safe place. Seems like the crime rate is pretty low.
You know, I tell people all the time, you know, we're so blessed to live in Perry. Yeah. And I challenge everybody every day. I said, 60 miles from here is Oklahoma City. Watch your 10 o'clock news. Yeah. There's not a day or a newscast that goes by, there's not a shooting or a stabbing, a murder in Oklahoma City. And that's just an hour away. Yeah. And, you know, Perry has its problems. There's not such a town. You know, everybody has asked me, what are you going to do about the drug problem? What can we do? There's not a town anywhere in the nation that doesn't have a drug problem. We just don't have it as much as Oklahoma City, Stillwater. And, you know, it's just what's really neat about working in a small town of 5,500, we know the citizens, and we know who's involved in the narcotics business. We know people that they all think we don't. We know what's going on. It's just going to be a certain time whenever we do what we got to do. So, I don't know. I love Perry.
So I'm here. You know, I've been hired. I've been retained for another year here in Perryville. Getting ready to send out a press release on that, and
Great.
I hope that's a good thing.
It is.
So, but I'm here to help kind of revitalize the downtown, especially. So you're saying some of the stuff about the charm of small town. I think some people are kind of concerned and worried about. I don't think everybody, but I think there's some people that are kind of worried about all of a sudden this new development and things happening downtown because there's going to be restaurants that may have a full bar, or just, which is kind of like Applebee's. I mean,
Yeah.
other places you go in Stillwater or whatever, but in our town, oh my gosh, it's going to bring in all kinds of trouble. Or like a festival, like we did the Alley of the Arts Festival,
Oh, yeah.
and they had a craft beer trailer there, so. And it may be just the growth in general, because I'm going to try to, for example, what I want to do is see every one of these buildings filled with life from top to bottom, right? So people living upstairs, working downstairs, maybe multiple businesses. I mean, can you put a perspective on that from the police department? I mean, do you like the idea better of the buildings being full versus them being empty?
Oh.
And, I mean, what kind of perspective can you
Absolutely.
give?
I mean,
Can you
you've
give
got
us?
such great opportunity down here. Why leave them vacant?
Yeah.
Just, like you've ran into, I believe, buildings that have been unattended. There's a lot of work now to get these up to where they need to be occupied and everything.
Right.
So it's kind of, do something with what you got. And if
Yeah.
you can't, if it's going to cost too much to do something, it's always, better just to start all over. But you are trying to maintain the look of the downtown area. But I mean, there's a lot of people that still to this day don't like change. They want
Right.
to just left
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
But change is good. I
Right.
mean, it's going to bring, we just had a meeting at lunchtime today with the car show going to come next weekend. Along with that, there's softball tournaments going on at the
Right.
softball fields. There's
Yeah.
baseball going on at BMAC. There's a fundraiser for Trooper Hatchet, another motorcycle coming through.
Right.
This town's going to be packed next Saturday. And just think if these businesses were open, it'd be great for them. I mean, everybody likes to, that would be an ideal dream to have your own business, make your own money, and that'd be a great opportunity. So, and tax dollars will come to Perry, and that's a great thing.
And that's a big thing that the city of Perry is working on right now,
Yeah.
and trying to keep some low. And because we've talked about it before, but I think it's still great to mention. It's good when we get a franchise or something come into town.
Yeah.
But the reality is, when it's a local entrepreneur that opens a business in town, something like 60% of that dollar, every dollar that's spent, the taxes stay and recirculate
Right.
in town. They turn around and buy something local, versus the corporate out on the bypass, only like 10% of that money stays in town because they ship it all back to their corporate headquarters.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that, we maybe generate less sales tax by having a corporate, a franchise, but we could get more of the money staying in town if we could get some local entrepreneurs. And so that's what we're working on, I think, with the downtown. And one of the things I can remember, because I was a developer in my town, and we at one point we owned several buildings in Siloam Springs, and we got a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was Siloam PD. Wasn't all that uncommon to get these phone calls. Sometimes
Right.
a door would be open or whatever. And this one was interesting because there's an extension ladder against the building and a broken window, and they're like, looked like somebody had broken in. So I hop in my car and I drive downtown, and there's 2 or 3 of the police officers down there and shining the lights, and then all of a sudden it dawned on me, like, no, we were fixing this roof. The guy left the ladder fell, hit the window. We problem solved because I was familiar.
Right.
But then they kind of told me, Ron, we don't really know what's going on up there. We don't know how many people are living up there. We don't know. We know that I think that the police are somehow involved in the planning, but when once the building permit is issued, you really don't know, and you could probably forget and what have you. And so that was an eye opener to me. One of the things I started doing that I'd really like to implement here, and we talked about. It's the first time I'm talking to you about it, but
Right.
I think it's key for police officers and firemen to walk through the projects as they're being built.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just to get a lay of the land type deal. So,
you kind of get a feeling how many people are up here.
Right.
If you get a call, you're thinking already, you guys, all right, there's 2 apartments up there, so not only are we're going to have to watch out for the other one too, those
Right.
kinds of things. Or you're going up there and you're in a long hallway, for example, and you're like, all right, what's going on up here?
Yeah, absolutely. we kind of do have that with your bigger businesses right
Yeah.
now. You know, like Ditch Witch, we've
Sure.
got the floor plans, the schools, but that would be a good idea just with the new business in town that we get a floor plan and kind of, I mean, what's neat about Perry, I mean, there's probably not a building on the square we haven't been in somewhere or another as a business or on a call. So
Sure.
we're familiar with some parts, but something new, that would be a good idea just to familiarize ourselves with that area. So.
Yeah, because I bet, and the flip side of that is since you are familiar with the way they look now or how they have looked,
Right.
when we get in there and change them, you walk
Yeah.
up and you might get a little disoriented, like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah,
This is different than the building I thought it was.
good idea.
Yeah, so that's something I hope, you know, and guys that are listening, I think that's something we and I know the projects I'm going to be associated with, we're definitely gonna try to get you guys up there.
Great.
Yeah, see it.
And you know, like currently now our night shift, we're pretty, I mean, if you look at every stats, there's not a whole lot that goes downtown as far as break-ins because we are out there trying to prevent it. We've got areas where people cover their zones and there's nightly checks of downtown front and backs. I mean, they look for open doors and just being that presence downtown both day and night, I think it's deterring a lot of
Yeah.
crime to be occurring
Yeah.
downtown. So
Well, and Kayla told me when we were talking about this interview, she told me that that you guys, one of your officers called her, maybe even at home or something, because the Main Street door was open.
okay, yeah.
So I mean, that sounds to me like you guys, somebody was actually must have been kind of checking doors
That's what
or
I
something.
said, that small town charm.
Yeah.
You get that kind of product from your police department because, I mean, we're not Oklahoma City and so widespread that we can actually concentrate on our business
Yeah.
structures and everything else. And we keep them out west at the, you know, Vance areas and the baseball fields. And so not everybody just ganged up. We've got sectors where officers are at night and it's better patrol that way and it reduces the crimes. And it has lately. So it's great.
Yeah. So you think that, you know, is there a concern as we get this growth? And I don't know if we're talking about population growth or just downtown development growth, because I think a lot of people may just be kind of shifting from different areas. I would love to see Perry grow at least a little bit because, you know, we do have so many people that work in Perry that live outside of Perry. If we can recapture some of them. You know, is there any fear that the small town charm or whatever of crime rates increasing or anything like that?
Well, I mean, it's just hard to predict that. I mean, with more people coming in, yeah, it's gonna be more volume of calls and everything. But I'm really, you know, the meetings we've had lately with our city manager and the city council, the change that's getting ready to occur in Perry, I'm really excited.
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
too. Yeah.
I mean, with the car dealership coming and what else was the car dealership and.
There's just kind of, I think,
I mean, there's just
lot of chain
there's a lot of
reactions going
chain, yeah.
along
I
with
mean,
that, and
yeah,
with
so,
the possibility of that properties are going to buy, and
just yeah, and
different.
well, and then we've had meetings with the tribe with the casino being built north of town.
that's right. No, that's right.
And
Yep.
and the meetings that we've had, you know, they're talking this dealership. There possibly could be 100 people that need a job and will move into town to run this Ford and New Holland dealership, and then the casino, they're looking the same. Vibe as far as about 100 people that deploy there, they're going to need a place to
Right,
live. And
right.
so I'm really looking forward if we can get housing developed. I mean, there's homes available here in town, but for people that move in, we kind of need to get our infrastructure up on our homes and find a place to build.
That's
I mean,
right.
I would love to see Perry. I'd like an interstage out front like Norman has and Edmond, just that, you know, the mile of cars in Norman, it's just a great, I mean, it's just tax dollars.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I think we got all this land out here to unutilize. Let's use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then, in part of what I'm wanting to bring is that quality of life issue, so people have some stuff to do. You know, we could create houses, but if everybody still has to drive to Stillwater or drive to different towns to go out to dinner or to do, you know, some entertainment type venues, then we're still competing with them on the houses too. So let's just do the boom 1-2 punch right now, right? Let's give them
Absolutely.
things to do and places to live, and just a vibrant downtown and
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as long as we're human, we got to eat to survive. I mean, have some options instead of.
Right.
It'd be nice to be here instead of going to Stillwater, Oklahoma City to get
Right.
that meal that could be actually offered here. So.
Yeah. Yeah,
That'd
no,
be great.
I mean, I'm living in a downtown loft. I would love to hang out and do things when I'm here a few nights a week, but I kind of consistently one night a week will go to Stillwater.
It's tempting, yeah.
And unfortunately, so, we want to shift that. We want to shift to where we start thinking about
That would, I'm
staying
all
here
for
and-
that idea. It'd be great.
Today's, I didn't even quite realize this till we walked in here, but today's an interesting, I'm going to shift gears a little bit. It's a little
Okay.
interesting history day, especially for Perry Sheriff's Department and just the police department and just law enforcement in general.
Yes.
Because I was going to ask you, when we started, I asked you if you had a good kind of a Perry police story, and then it kind of shifted into, well, what the anniversary is today. So give a quick explanation or tell a little bit of that story we were just talking about earlier.
Of course, you guys know today marks the 23rd year of the Murrah bombing, and there's things in your life that you don't forget where you were at when a tragic event happens. I mean, you can go back. I mean, showing my age, I remember I was at my babysitter's house when Elvis died. I mean, because everybody, it was just, those tragic events, you know where you were at. And I was living in Stillwater at that time, and when the bomb went off, our house actually shook. And I said, what was that? And you're 60 miles away. And so I was with the Tillman County Reserves then, and we were headed to Frederick, and I called the sheriff and said, they're calling for any emergency personnel. Do you mind if I uniform up and assist? He said, absolutely. So when I pulled in, I mean, it was just chaos down there. And
So this means you were driving to Oklahoma City at this time?
I was leaving Stillwater to go to Oklahoma. We were going to go through Oklahoma City to go to Frederick.
Okay.
And whenever the news, the radio was on, and they're just calling for any law enforcement help. And so that's when I got granted permission by the sheriff then to go help. And like I said, back then, it's amazing how tragic events happen. Now we better prepare ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, school shootings, we're ready. If it happened right now, my team's ready to go. So this was something not used to everybody. This never happened. This was the worst event ever in American soil at the time. So, I went down there and I just felt like a out-of-place person because everybody was running, and I was there probably for an hour, and I said, I'm not really helping because I don't know what's going on, and we left. But I was, and Charlie Hanger, our sheriff, is a big impact in what happened that day because it was what he refers to as divine intervention. I mean, he saw a car go by, there was no display of tag, and Charlie just made a traffic stop, and look what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, he was doing his
Timothy
job at the
McVeigh
time.
arrested. Now, so remind me, because so today's the actual anniversary of the bombing,
Yes.
and was he arrested that same day? I can't remember.
It was about right at an hour later after it happened is when Charlie made the stop and he was placed under arrest.
Yeah.
But he had no clue at that time that was
Yeah,
just
who he
a
had,
simple
'cause he
traffic
just thought
stop
he was
and
some
had a weapon on him, and he was
Yeah.
charged with the weapon violation. So
crazy.
it was.
So yeah, that
it was great.
the bombing, and then the arrest of Timothy McVeigh, who stayed the night right here in the. So were you weren't working for
Not here,
yeah,
no,
not for
no.
Perry PD. Okay, I was trying to get the stories correct. So yeah, interesting. So that's quite a story to be a.
It's hard to believe. I mean, as
Associated
time
with
goes
and-
by, it's been 23 years today that
Yeah.
occurred, and it's like it just seems like yesterday.
Yeah.
So time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, appreciate what you do, and yeah, it's funny. I'm just all of a sudden it got my mind thinking like I can remember exactly where I was on 9/11.
Yeah.
I was at a gas station talking to a guy and whatever. And so yeah, that was quite a day in history, and Charlie Hanger's still here. We need to have him on the show sometime too. It'd be interesting to hear his story. And
He's a good guy.
yeah, he really is.
Well, like I said, Jerry Cook hired me, but then when Jerry retired, Charlie
Okay.
came, and I worked under Charlie. I mean, two great guys right there. You can't beat them. So
So when you said, we're kind of wrapping up here, when you said, about being a police officer, and one of the good things about being a police officer in a small town, have you ever thought about what it'd like to be a police officer in Chicago? Is there a bigger city that have you ever had, that you've ever thought for yourself, man, it'd be interesting that, every day I've got to be on alert, or
No.
or is you're totally fine with the
One man,
small town.
I went to a conference one time and I met the sheriff of LA County at the time. It was Joe Baca. And we got to talking, and he was talking about his yearly budget for LA County. Would you have any idea, just thought what that would be?
LA County, the
LA
yearly
County
budget
Sheriff's
for the
Department
Sheriff's
yearly
Department?
budget.
Oh my gosh, I'd just be totally guessing that.
Joe, just throw something
$10
out.
million.
Okay. Well, you're a little bit off. His yearly budget is $3.2 billion.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding
He's
me?
got 30,000 plus employees. He's got helicopters. He's got boats. I looked at his structure, and what I'm talking about, being a small town,
Yeah.
we have 13 police officers
Yeah.
here. We know each one,
13.
every one of us.
Yeah.
We know our families.
Yeah.
We're all tight.
Right.
And I felt, and I was looking at that sheriff, and I'm like, you don't,
That's crazy.
try to memorize everybody's name in Perry, Oklahoma. You couldn't.
Yeah.
And he has over 30,000 employees. He shakes their hand at graduation and never knows
Yeah.
who he has working for him. So,
Right.
no, I don't want anything to do with a 30,000 man department. And but when his structure was like, he had probably 80 undersheriffs, or whatever they call them, their chief, whatever, law
Yeah.
enforcement. So, it's just incredible. So no, I love Perry. I love being at a small with your officers that we have. We know their kids. We know it's just great to have that relationship instead of being so strong where you don't even know who you got employed with you.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Can't even imagine.
no.
Well, your phone's ringing, so you're a busy guy. You're getting. Hopefully, it's not a big call.
We're all right. No, we're okay.
All right. Well, you got any questions or anything for me before we wrap up? Or
No, I'm just, I've met you 3 or 4 times in passing, but
Yeah.
everything I've heard from the community is positive
Well,
about
good.
you. They're
Well,
glad
thank you.
you're here, and if you can
Yeah.
get Perry up and going, that's a big plus. This is home to me now. It's 19 years in Perry,
Yeah.
and so I'd love to see it grow. And the only thing I want to chime in is we're trying to get restaurants and everything, but I've had a lot of people, which I haven't talked to you, they want to see something for kids.
I know.
And,
know.
I had an officer last night, we was sitting there talking, he goes, his idea, I'm just kind of shooting this out, but the old Walmart, if he can make like a chunky cheese pizza where there's game center and putt inside, I think something like that is what really the kids need, because we had our bowling alley back in the day, and it was so far out that parents didn't really like to go out there. But
Yeah.
that's one thing I'd like to see, besides what's going on, is something for the kids. So.
Well, fortunately, 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, I walked through several projects with somebody looking, and I don't want to say too much,
Right.
but they're looking serious at what you just said. So
That would
'cause,
be great. So.
we definitely need that, and as Main Street gets a little bit stronger, we're working on rebuilding the board and do things. We're going to talk about more events and doing some things that'll be kid oriented. So again, like the Alley of the Arts, it was fun that night. The setup, there was a lot of kids out there painting chalk. Just give them a bucket of chalk paint and some sidewalks, and have something to
My
do.
wife's from Perry, and she
Yeah.
said back in the day they had arcades and they had
Yeah.
putt-putt golf course here at
Yeah.
one time, where our barbecue place is, Horizon. That was a putt-putt golf course. So
Okay.
I'd just like to see something family-oriented where they could go out and we can't have Top Golf or nothing,
Yeah.
but just something for the
Something.
kids to do.
Yep, I agree.
So,
Well, Chief, thank
Hey.
you for being on today.
You
I
bet.
appreciate
It
it.
was
This is
fun.
good stuff, and we'll talk more.
Okay.
So thank you for tuning in, friends, to Perry Live. Tune in next week, Thursday at 2:00, and we'll have some more exciting stuff to report going on in Perry. Signing off.